What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Right Now Powder Coating channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the best gun if you're just starting out in powder coating. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, if you're starting at home or small scale hobby and you just want to powder coat some things, the gun that you go with is going to depend on what kind of work you want to put out, the quality, the finish, and then what kind of powders and everything you're spraying. In this video, we're going to break down the pros and cons of those entry-level guns, and then we're going to talk about the pro guns and then kind of help you guys make a better decision when you're out there trying to buy your first gun. So to start with, we're going to talk about entry-level guns, and now we're thinking about those Arbor Freight guns, those Eastwood guns, and then some of those red line guns, the cheaper guns that you see out there that you've probably done plenty of research on. When you're looking at these more affordable guns, you're obviously going to be giving up a lot of perks. The cons of these lower entry-level guns is they're not going to be as adjustable, so you're not going to be able to spray as well on Faraday areas. You're not going to have the electrostatics that you typically find in the more professional guns. You're going to have an inconsistent finish. It's going to be harder to lay down your powder in a nice, even, smooth manner. And the way that the powder flows because of that's going to be a little all over the place. So you might have a little bit more tight orange peel. You might have a little bit bigger wavy orange peel if you get too heavy. It's a lot harder to keep a consistent spray on the part when you don't have a gun that's adjusting on the fly. Another thing is that they're a little bit less durable. They're not made as well. They're not meant to last forever. Obviously, when you're only spending a couple $100s on these guns, they're just not going to be that durable. You're also not going to get a warranty in most cases with these guns. The other thing that you have to think about is your powder flow. It's a one setup type of deal. You can't adjust your air settings. You can't adjust your electrostatics. So those are some of the issues that you're going to run into when you're using these entry-level guns. So on the pro side, we're talking a lot less money. So the big elephant in the room on these cheaper entry-level guns is that they're cheap. So typically you can pick up a used gun on Facebook Marketplace or a brand new gun for anywhere from $100 to $300, which is a pretty affordable way to get into it if you're garage coating is what I like to call it. So if you're going to set up something and do some hobby work, do some work for your friends, maybe some auto parts for yourself, these cheaper guns are a great way to go into the hobby and learn the trade. Next, we're going to go ahead and get into the more professional guns that are a little less affordable. So on the way other realm of the world, the professional guns, you're going to be spending anywhere from, I would say, about $2,500 upwards of $8,000 for some of the more well-known brands such as Gema. On the plus side, these pro guns are pretty nice. You really don't have to be a very experienced coder to be able to use these. A lot of the presets on these guns are going to go ahead and adjust your KVs, your UAs, your powder air settings, your total air settings, and all of that kind of stuff for you. And on top of that, the gun actually senses the distance to the part and the buildup of the powder, and it's constantly adjusting all those in the background for you. That is a huge pro on these guns if you don't know a lot about what you're doing. Another advantage is that you can control the air. You can control the UA, the KV. So as you start to learn it, there's a lot more settings to help you get into Faraday areas. There's a lot more settings to help you avoid backionization when you're doing recoats. You can adjust your cloud and make it big. You can adjust your cloud and make it small. So they're just way more diverse in the options that you can do and based on what you're coating. Another huge advantage, you're going to have way better transfer efficiency. So you're going to waste a lot less powder. I know with the Eastwood gun, in my experience, when you're spraying, you look at the floor, the majority of the powder is down there, and then you got a little bit on the part. It's very much the opposite with these pro guns. You're going to have most of your powder sticking to the part, and you're going to get really good wrap around that part also, just because the guns work so much better in the electrostatic department. Other advantages is these guns come with more features such as Bluetooth. I know our Electron guns, the Gema guns, they all have a Bluetooth feature that will actually measure your powder output. It will also keep track of timing on your consumables. So if you know that you're having to replace a tip every 40 hours, 60 hours, whatever it may be, you can set reminders on there, and then it's going to tell you, hey, you need a new tip or a new electrode or whatever. You can also set recipes. So if you're spraying a certain part and you get your air settings and your KV and your UA set how you like it, you can save that as a preset, and then you can switch to the next preset, and they hold tens of different recipes. So you can have, I think, up to 100 different recipes on the Electron gun. The cons on these guns, obviously, is the cost is the big red flag there. So it's not easy for everyone to get into. I have noticed talking with other powder coaters that they get their oven, they get their booth, they get their air setup, and then they look at buying the gun. A lot of times that gun is the main factor in what you're producing. So I always say spend the most money you can on the gun and then bring all your other equipment in around it, because that gun is what's going to give you the finish. It's going to give you the efficiency. It's going to save you money in the long run and all that stuff. It's the most important piece of the powder coating puzzle. The other major con of these pro units is that they are more complex. So on one side, it's a pro that you can adjust your air settings, your powder, your KV, your UA. On the other side, it is a con because you kind of have to know what you're doing. So you have to understand what the buttons do, how they adjust the powder cloud, how they adjust your charging, and all that kind of stuff, which obviously they come with really nice detailed manuals. Not a lot of people utilize the manual, but I strongly recommend getting it, reading through it, and understanding what you're getting with those guns. So when it comes to recommendations, if you are on that entry level side and you're not sure what to do, or if you're just coating out of your garage hobby for fun, for your own personal, I strongly suggest going with the Eastwood gun, the dual voltage, over like the Arbor Freight. It just doesn't spray as well as the suction does, or the Venturi effect from those Eastwood guns. It just gives you a better cloud. It also has a dual setting, so you can have a higher electrostatic setting, and then on your recoats you can drop down, whereas the Arbor Freight gun does not have that. The cost isn't too bad. We'll actually link it down in the video so that you can go check them out. And that's on the very, very low end. On the very, very high end, I definitely suggest, if you have the money or can work your way up to it, doing smaller jobs, saving your money, get our Electron gun. And I'm not just saying that because I sell the gun. I'm saying it because it's the lowest cost of entry for a professional grade gun. We start at $2,500 for a bear kit. So you'll get the controller, the gun, the hoses, and everything. And the same performance in that controller and gun as you'll get in the Gema gun for $8,000. Now the Gema gun's a good brand. Nordson's a good brand. Parker Ionic's a good brand. Never sprayed with Wagner, but I'm sure it's a good brand too. They're all good guns. They're all going to do basically the same thing. When it comes down to choosing the gun at the professional level, who are you going to get support from? Are the parts available? And is the equipment available? And that's what I would judge it all based on. Our Electron brand, obviously I'm a distributor for them. We'll link our website down below. I'm happy to answer any questions you have on them. But if you can't afford the high end, and you want something better than that low end, there is a ton of options in the middle. Again, I strongly suggest you get to that $2,500 range if you can, because it's going to make a world of difference. When you get into the middle ground, I think your Cool Coats, your RC guns, the China Gema clone, they're all adjustable a little bit more than your lower entry, but they don't have the same technology in them that's going to give you that instant feedback when you're spraying. So we have a lot of people that struggle with that. The settings aren't as precise on your air settings, on your electrostatic settings. So you're going to struggle a little bit. Yes, you're going to be able to adjust it. It's going to help you a little bit more than those entry-level Eastwood Arbor Freight guns, but it's nothing like the pro gun. So even if you're not for Electron, that's fine. Get into a pro gun as fast as you can, or save up for it, because it's a world of difference. Your finish is going to be better. Your ease of getting paint into Faraday areas is going to be better. Your ease of recoat is going to be better. So not only are you saving yourself money and time and rework, you're also saving yourself a ton of frustration being at that pro level. So I suggest anyone who can afford it, get into that pro gun as fast as possible. If you can't, get into those lower level guns, get as much work done and pinch your pennies, save up, and get into a pro gun as fast as possible. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you are interested in one of our Electron guns, like I said, down below there is more information. If you have any questions on any of the other entry-level guns or anything else, just let me know down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. It keeps this channel going. We really appreciate every single one of you guys. So until next time, get out there and coat something.